Welcome back to America Decides 2024 right here on Dr. Phil's Merit TV. Let's get over to Robert Bluey again with the Daily Signal to talk about these swing states we have now officially called North Carolina. Your thoughts on North Carolina?
Well, this is a big win for Donald Trump. He spent a lot of time there. Obviously, they were concerned. He had a big lead over Joe Biden when he was in the race, but Kamala Harris really narrowed that gap. So I think it's the sigh of relief for the Trump campaign tonight.
One other thing you're monitoring is Pennsylvania. Specifically, you said the Bucks County. What is it that you're seeing there that gives you, I guess, confidence that it's leaning in a certain direction, or is it?
Well, Bucks County is one of those areas. It's in the suburbs of Philadelphia. I visited Bucks County in September, actually went with a group to do some door knocking, monitoring, how they were trying to turn out the vote on behalf of the Senate candidate there, Dave McCormick, who, by the way, is running very competitively with the incumbent Bob Casey in that state. So Trump is keeping Bucks County very competitive. Now, this is a county that he has to win or come very close to winning if he wants to carry the state.
Interesting. And what about some of these other states? You were looking at Michigan, for example. What were you seeing there?
Michigan, slow to count the vote. I think Michigan, we were hoping that we would see more progress than we have. And remember, Michigan was one of those states in 2020 where there were some concerns because they shut down the vote counting late into the night. Detroit, obviously a big urban area, trends very strongly for Kamala Harris, but some other areas of Michigan. Remember, Donald Trump won Michigan in 2016. It was one of those surprise states where Hillary Clinton probably didn't pay enough attention to, and Donald Trump was able to eke out a victory there, along with Wisconsin.
Nevada, what did the numbers show you in Nevada?
Nevada's still too early, Chris.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a little bit more time we need for Nevada and Arizona. Arizona, it seems like it's slowing down. They're over 50% of the vote in that state. So encouraging signs for Donald Trump. He's performing, as Scott Rasmussen has said, performing well in those southern states. So Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, all trending in Trump's direction. It's really going to come down to Pennsylvania, I think, because if Harris is able to eke out a win in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, that gives her 270. If Trump is able to block her in any one of those states, she won't get to that number.
Yep. We want to go to Scott Rasmussen right here behind you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Our pollster here. Great socks, by the way.
How about that?
Man alive. Look at that. Aren't you proud to be an American? Aren't we all on a day like this? Let's talk about what you're saying.
My team appreciated it.
Oh, yeah. You like that? Yeah, it's good stuff. Lindy helping lead the charge there for you. Anything that you're seeing that's out of the ordinary, or is this kind of what your polling showed?
This is actually what we expected when we got up this morning. The polling predicted where these 7 states would be, that they'd be close to Donald Trump doing a little better in the southern swing states. And those 3 blue wall states, still too close to call. Now, one thing that we got to keep in mind, 8 years ago, long time back now.
Time flies.
Hillary Clinton just ignored those 3 states, and that's how Donald Trump managed to sneak in. This time, the Democratic Party, Kamala Harris, heavily invested in all of the states, put a lot of resources, a lot of time in, and they're still not putting them away. So things have shifted in the last 8 years. Partly it's a result of Donald Trump's first victory, and bluntly, part of it is the Biden administration's performance over the last 4 years.
What's the main thing that you're watching? And we're showing Wisconsin right here. This is 68% of the precincts now reporting he's up 51 to 47%.
The thing I'm watching most in Wisconsin and in the other blue wall states are the Senate races. Looks like Tammy Baldwin is struggling in Wisconsin. Not clear what's going to happen there, but much closer than we might have expected a few weeks ago. And we're seeing the same things in Pennsylvania and Michigan. So my expectation is President Trump will win at least one of those blue wall states, and it will be interesting to see if he can carry a senator across.
There's the numbers and the race that you're talking about.
Very close race.
Yeah.
And these Senate races, 3-4 weeks ago, people were saying the Republicans didn't have a chance. The campaigns began to run very effective ads raising the question of biological males playing girls' sports, and it began to have an impact.
Wow. You put out a tweet yesterday on X that I actually texted you about. I said, I see that tweet. You made a prediction how you felt this race would go. Tell our viewers what you said, how you felt this would go, and the why behind that.
Well, the first thing I said was any serious analysis of the race It's got to admit that either team could win. It was close enough. All the polling was telling us. I expected Donald Trump had the advantage and was somewhat more likely to win because I expected him to carry the swing states, the southern swing states of Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, and that meant he had to win just one of the three.
And why did you think he'd carry those?
Well, one of the key indicators, the economy is always a big issue. Nationally, 26% of voters say that their finances are getting better. 40% say they're getting worse. And in those swing states, every single one of them, people were more pessimistic than people in the rest of the country about their finances. Very important issue.
Scott Rasmussen, thank you for the analysis tonight. We appreciate you as always.
Glad you read my tweets.
Of course I do. Come on, he's a great follow, by the way. Let's send it.